Hi, this is Haley Bookney, and today I'm here to talk to you about using feedback effectively in your classroom. So, the objectives for today are to establish methods on using feedback appropriately and effectively, and also to implement some strategies for using feedback in the classroom. So, first and foremost, why is feedback so important? So, feedback is important for improving learning. It allows for self reflection and growth towards goals. So, it's important that those goals are in place for students to know what they're reaching for, what they're working for. I mean, how can we grow as learners if we don't know where we need to improve or where we're headed? So, it's important to have goals established with your students so that you can use feedback to help them achieve those goals. What does effective feedback look like? So we can suggested that effective feedback is evidence-based, specific, constructive, and provided in a timely manner, and it provides direction toward goal completion. So there are 7 essentials that he talks about. First, that it's goal reference. Setting goals is important, and effective feedback will help someone achieve those goals. They know where to improve, and it will remind them that the goal is important and where they're headed. Also, that it's tangible and transparent. Um, any useful feedback is working towards a goal, and you need a clear goal, but you also need to know the result, the end result, and how you're going to get there. So, being able to provide the feedback that will help effectively steer the learner in the right direction towards achieving that goal. It needs to be actionable, meaning it's concrete, specific, and useful, and it's going to provide clear cut information on specifically what you can do to improve or what you could do less of the next time. And it needs to be specific, not really broad, like in the good job or great job, and giving them a grade. So, really knowing why they achieve that grade, what they need to work on to improve. Specific examples are really important here that allows them to go back and ultimately take action. That it's user friendly, meaning it's easy to understand. There's not a lot of value in something that you really don't know how to use or how to take and use that to help you positively turn and work towards your goal. So making sure that they're not overwhelmed and that it's in terms in little chunks that they can understand and work toward. And timely and ongoing, and I feel like these two kind of go together. Um, if you're getting feedback, you want to get it soon so that it can be used and learning can be ongoing, that you can effectively put that feedback into use right then and it can be used and have opportunities to allow you to work towards goal growth. And then we have consistent. Feedback has to be consistent so that learners know how to adjust, how to successfully work, and take the information that you're giving them and use it in an accurate way that will help them achieve their goal. So you want to make sure that as you continue to work with your students on feedback, that you are doing so consistently. Okay, so I want to talk to you today specifically about the almond joy method. So Chappell suggested that the almond joy method of effective feedback for students is useful. So if we're thinking about the almond joy, of course, we're talking about the candy bar. First, we have the coconut filling. So we're providing an affirmative description of work, really giving the students some positive aspects as to what's going on and letting them know specifically with the description of what they're doing. So if it's a writing project, specifically what they did well. The almond part of the candy bar is the hard part, right? So this is the hard things to communicate, but they're effective for growth, so they're important. So this is probably the part that no one really likes to do, but it's also the part that's important because it helps on the improvement of those skills and working towards goals. So the comments should also communicate what needs to be changed, what needs to be improved, what needs to happen differently next time, and really being specific on what you want the learner to work towards. And then, of course, we have the chocolate coating where we're encouraging statements and future performance growth. So, how we can help the learner know what they did well again and how they can obtain that growth. So, if you're giving them things to work on, how can they work on that specifically? How can you support them in their journey toward achieving that? And as we're talking about this, it's also important to work with your students on having a growth mindset and how to really receive feedback and use it towards growth in the learning task and how to put it to use and understanding the importance of it. So, in a classroom setting, it's pretty simple. If we're going to provide an assignment for students, then we're going to give them a goal. This is what we want to happen. This is what we want to achieve. Then we're going to have time to meet with students to provide verbal feedback. This might be something that they're working towards fixing. I'm thinking when I work with my students in writing projects, I'm pretty specific on what we need to work on. And then allowing students time to reflect and practice using that feedback to work towards their end goal. So let's put this into practice here. If we have some feedback of good work, that's not really very specific or concrete. So how could we improve this comment to create effective feedback? If I'm thinking in terms of my own classroom, if we were looking at a specific piece of writing about a personal narrative and a student writing about a trip to the beach, you might say something like, your use of descriptive adjectives in this paper were more visual than the last paper. I could clearly see the beach you were describing. Maybe next time, let's really focus on the sounds that are going on around us in the background and really giving them a direction of what they did well, but some things that they could do to improve to work towards the goal next time. So, as we're finishing this up here, how can feedback be used in your classroom? How do you see this working? Um, really reflect on the ways that you can practice using feedback with your students. And if there are any questions, you know where to find me. Thank you for listening today.